2, 1, go.
Hi guys, this is Travis Barrett, Olympic lifting coach here at Circle City Martial Arts and Fitness. Today we're going to cover the most fundamental movement for resistance training, the squat. So first we're going to start with the stance and the posture, and then we're going to show the proper progression based on certain levels. So first thing we're going to do is I like to have my clients start from a post-supported squat. This way they can use their upper body for support as needed. Then as they advance, they can use their upper body less and less. So starting from the ground up, the feet slightly wider than hip width. Toes can be turned out up to about 30 degrees or so. Then from there, I'm looking for three things. Feet to remain flat throughout the movement, number one. Number two, a vertical torso. And number three, I want my clients to lead with their chest and keep their hips underneath the load as much as possible. So first thing we're going to do from a post-supported squat, stand up tall, then we're going to break at the hips and the knees and descend slowly. So right here the feet are flat. Yes, the knees are over the toes, but the feet are flat, so that's okay. We have vertical torso, and we're going to lead with the chest out of the movement. Okay? So this is our basis for the squat. And if you're inexperienced and don't feel stable yet, definitely use this as support to help yourself and guide up and down throughout the movement. Okay, the next level from there is just a basic goblet squat. So starting with a dumbbell, we want a vertical dumbbell about 2 to 3 inches from the chest, and we're going to mimic the exact same movement, you just happen to be hanging onto a dumbbell. From there, it's the exact same motion. Some people prefer kettlebells. And then the last movement, I like to have people who are struggling with maintaining a good posture, is a counterbalance squat. So use a light plate. It doesn't need to be heavy. Going to start at the hips, and then as you descend down, you're going to raise up the plate here, and then as you stand up, the plate's going to come back down to waist level. Once my clients have mastered the body weight and the light implement movements, we can progress to the barbell. So for barbell movements, we're going to start with the front squat. So if you are having issues or limitations with your wrist or finger flexibility, you can go with a typical crossbody or bodybuilder grip. If you're not having limitations, you can go with a traditional front rack grip. So one important note is we want to make sure the bar is at mid-sternum before we go underneath. Both feet are underneath the bar. Duck under. Elbows raise up as high as possible. Lift the bar off. Step left foot, step right foot. Big chest. And when you re-rack the weight, double check both sides, and then rack the weight. The next progression is the back squat. In my opinion, a lot of people start with this movement, and this should be one of the last movements to ensure that we have proper posture and proper positioning first. So hand width is typically based on flexibility or lack thereof. So if you're very flexible at the shoulder joint, bring your hands in a little closer. If you're a little less flexible or fairly new, you can go with your hands a bit wider. So here, my upper back is tight, the bar is high on my traps, both feet are under the bar as I lift off. Step left foot, step right foot, big chest, feet flat, vertical torso, and I'm squatting as deep as possible or as deep as is comfortable for me. Walk it in, make sure it hits both sides. Now the last movement, assuming that we have done everything right up until this point, now we can introduce the overhead squat. So for the overhead squat, a couple ways to do this. Number one, you can go from the floor, take it over your head, with a snatch grip and keep it over your head as you do an overhead squat. Or you can go from the rack. Right now we're going to demonstrate from the rack, where you go underneath the bar in a typical back squat, step back, hands go out to snatch grip, press up overhead. Now here it's critical that we teach people to be aggressive, pushing their traps to their ears as they descend down, and they keep the tightness throughout the movement. Now when they lower the bar back to their traps, slow descent, keeping the upper back tight, walk it back in till both sides hit. And that covers the basics of posture and progressions for the squat movement. Thanks guys, and we'll look forward to seeing you next week for another tutorial. Thanks.